Hey guys, how's everything going? I'm back here again today with a video and just wanted to talk to you a little bit about why I'm so excited about executive function skills. Now, you guys know that I have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and I told you a little bit about how I discovered that about maybe, 3 decades ago. Somewhere in there, I kind of sort of put that together. And a year ago, I got an official diagnosis because things were just getting so out of hand because I'm in that menopause time of life. And the two situations were compounding. And so I went ahead and decided to get an official diagnosis. But I never really told you why or how I was coming into that understanding. I mentioned I'd been in grad school, but I wanted you to know that I am a licensed speech-language pathologist, and I have worked for years, for decades, with teenagers, with seniors, with babies, you name it, I've done it. I've been in schools, working with students. I've been in hospitals, working with patients, assisted living, where, people go when they have some skills, but they're not able to take care of themselves completely. I've done home health. I've done outpatient therapy. I've even had my own outpatient practice. So I've done everything there is to do in speech language pathology. And I'm very fascinated by executive function disorders. And it's one of the reasons why I find myself always talking about language types of things like context and, emotional regulation, because those are all parts of language. And a lot of times, we think that the speech therapist or the speech language pathologist just works with the little to say their R's better, And yeah, we do a lot of that. But we also do language. And language is more than just, English or Spanish or French. Language is how you think. It's sort of the vehicle for your ideas. And so language involves cognition, how you think. It involves your receptive, which is your understanding of language, how well you're able to process it and understand it. It involves expressive language, which is how you use it, how you put your words together to make sentences. So it's all of that. And one thing I find that I'm always having to teach is context to a lot of my language impaired folks. And so you'll hear me talking a lot about context. But when I look at the world today, I'm realizing that context is something that all of us need, not just people that have language disorders or people that have attention-based disorders. Honey, just one little scroll on TikTok and you realize that a lot of us are out here having problems with context. And I was asking myself, why is that? And I think it's because so much of what we listen to and learn is in like 30-second bites of information. And it's usually done by people that have a motive, that are trying to make you see the world either this way or that way. And I think everybody's doing it, that have power in our society or have a agenda, so it's not just one group of people doing it. And so what happens is we have gotten used to trying to get information and understand complex bits of detail in 30 seconds. And context is about looking at what happened before and what happened after. Context is about looking at, environmental clues. It's asking yourself questions. What history do I have on this situation? Context is about all of that. Like I've got context now. I have someone that's deciding to Okay, I'm getting distracted. You might be thinking I'm getting distracted because I don't know what I want to say. But if you understood the context of this situation, then you would know that I have a son that's in here that's got the water on and he's doing a lot of distracting things. And then I got ADHD anyway. I just want to look at him and see what he's doing. But let me get back on point. Context. We have really got to start understanding that if we don't have context, then we don't really have understanding, because you can't problem solve and do the levels of critical thinking that you need to do as an adult if you don't understand how to use context. And so you will find that on this channel, it's a lot about emotional regulation and it's a lot about context. Because we've got to get back to that good old-fashioned, looking at something a little bit more critically than we have learned to do since the internet has just sort of taken over. But I had some notes down here because I wanted to kind of explain a little bit more about me as a speech-language pathologist, because that's something that I haven't really wanted to just lead with. Because first of all, I'm not here working with you as a speech-language pathologist or as a speech therapist. I'm here kind of with you as a fellow person that deals with overwhelm and a scattered brain and, some ADHD executive function concerns. So that's really what I wanted to talk about, is my experience here on That Talking Gal. Is what it's been like. But I also want to share with you some of the strategies that I've learned that I use with my students, my clients, or my patients, and strategies that I use that have helped me get things done. And the part about, connecting my own personal experience of having ADHD with the training of being a speech therapist, bringing those two things together, I think give me a very unique perspective. And it gives me a very good position to be able to help not only myself, but to help you if you're struggling with these issues. My favorite thing about speech therapy is language-based disorders and executive functioning. I love looking at things that involve receptive language. Now, receptive language is how you understand, how you interpret, how you process, and how you organize information that comes into the brain. And that's what it's all about over here. And I use things like my daily drift board, and I've got these other little cards and things that I use to kind of keep myself focused on my projects. And we'll talk a lot about that on the channel. But this is just my way of kind of letting you understand that the strategies that I use, these are strategies that I teach. And they're the strategies that have worked. And I wanted to mention that, even though I don't want to lead with that, because this is not a patient-provider relationship that we have here. And you'll start seeing a disclaimer to let you know that I'm not coming here to diagnose you or to treat you, because I've never done an evaluation on any of you guys. I can't diagnose you and I can't treat you. But what I can do is I can provide educational information. I can provide useful strategies and useful tips. And so that's what I'm doing. Now, I also started a podcast on Spotify and Apple. Really proud of that. And it's called Your Inner Economy. And over there, it's not going to be the messy day in life that you see here on That Talking Gal. This is me. This is vulnerable me, showing you how I mess up and how I fix it, how my ADHD impacts my everyday life. Over here, you see things like the Groundhog's Day experiment, right? And you get to see me go through it and see if it's going to be effective. But over on Your Inner Economy, it's talking about the framework. It's talking about different courses that I'm putting together to try to help folks like us live successful lives by learning to use certain organizational tricks and tools, learning to use different visual anchoring techniques that allow them to be able to transition from a task, effectively, different things that help you stay involved to get the project completed, different things like that. So it's going to be a lot more of framework, a lot less chatter, but I needed them both because That Talking Gal lets me just tell you, girl, this is what's happening today. And here's how I'm thinking, here's how I'm feeling. And did you read about this article? And here's how I think it applies to us. That's what That Talking Gal allows me to do. And I love it. I'm showing up here in ways I never thought I would, because you know how it is. It's difficult to get these big dreams actually out and completed. So I'm really excited about my work I'm doing over here. I'm also excited about Your Inner Economy. So if you want to check that out, you can as well. So I just kind of wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about that today, and to let you know that I think that as we get to know each other more, as you get to understand who I am, I'm running out of my battery. Let me plug it in, guys. Give me a second. It's that ADHD thing right there. I got to plug it into the wall. Hold on. Let me plug it up. All right. See, that talking gal allows me to do all that kind of stuff. How you going to do a video and not check to see if you got battery life? How you going to do a video and not have your cord already plugged into the wall? Well, that's easy to do if you have ADHD, right? We just, bumble through it and get going. Remember, the magic is in the return. Just get back on the horse and keep going with it. But yeah, so I just wanted to talk about that and to tell you that context is something that we really need to look at a little bit more here. And I was watching this one thing that was on YouTube again. I'm a YouTube junkie. And it was so apparent that this person lacked context, that it was just mind-boggling to me that this person felt that they had been wronged in a situation and they just did not have good context. It was so obvious to anybody else that had a rational brain and who could look at logical information and make deductions and make different inferences and predictions. It would have been so obvious to them that that's not what's happening here. But this person lacked context. And context, again, for a formal definition, I wrote one down here. It's all the information surrounding a situation that helps you understand what something really means. So it's all the information surrounding a situation that lets you know what's really happening. I'll give a very simple example. A lot of you guys, this will make sense to you. If someone goes and says, wow, I'm having a great day. You don't really know what they mean, right? It's just sentences, wow, I'm having a great day. But if I say to you, wow, I'm really having a great day. Well, clearly I'm not, right? You can tell by my tone, you can tell by my body language, you can tell by the expression on my face that I'm being sarcastic. But if I were to say, I'm having a great day, y'all, it is just a great day, then I'm really having a great day because you're looking at my body, you're looking at my face, you're looking at my, the tone of my voice, you're listening to all of that. So context lets you look at more than what's said. And in a lot of these different videos that would pop up on my algorithm, go figure, people would be lacking context to the point of, I'm like, are we really dealing with someone that has a language disorder? Because or they're just being narcissistic, because that could be what it is. They just want to be right. And they will literally say, oh, you're doing this. Oh, you're doing this because you did that. Oh, no, you did this. It's like, well, I just did that. I didn't do that. I didn't do that because of what you're saying. I did it because I had to do this. No, you did it. You said this. But no. I didn't say it because of that. I said it because of this. No. You said this. You said this. You did this. And they will be so insistent that the words and the behavior meant what they thought it meant. Totally out of context. Totally out of context. Problems could have been avoided had people chose to use context. And I just want you guys to know that we're going to be talking a lot about that on this channel. And now you know why. Now you know why I love to talk about executive function disorders or challenges. Because not everybody has a disorder. Not everybody has a diagnosis of ADHD or autism. Some people are just overwhelmed and scattered because they have anxiety, they have stress, they have life. But you can respond in a way that makes it appear that you have executive functioning challenges if you are stressed out, riding on cortisol, if you're not, making sure that you are clear on what's happening. You could look like you have a language disorder and you don't. You're just someone that needs more practice learning how to calm yourself. You're someone that needs more practice learning how to pay attention and look at what's happening, how to ask yourself the right questions so that you're really getting the right meaning from context. Right? You guys all know that's what we had to learn in 4th and 5th and 6th grade, right? How to get meaning from context when you read something. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we need to bring all that back. We need to get our young people understanding that context is everything. Don't show me a 30-second TikTok clip and then put some type of definition on what I've seen. You can't do it from a 30-second clip. You can't. And we're looking at high stakes information and we're trying to make high stake critical decisions about how we're going to believe about a particular event based on 30 seconds of information where we have no context. We can't do that, people. That is a perfect way to start fights and to start getting into trouble. You got to have context. And we'll talk more about how to do that, you know, how to make sure you're clear. I've talked about it a lot, but we're going to keep talking about it because I think it's very needed. Gen Zers, you guys need that because your brains have been hijacked. You've sort of learned how to live life in 30-second chunks and increments. And that's unfortunate that things like TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Facebook Reels, our whole life is micro chunks, little bitty things. And so you're going to have to teach yourself if you don't really feel confident in understanding how to get meaning from context. Because that's what separates childhood from adulthood, is that you understand how to get full meaning from context. So nobody's deceiving you. You're not being led down a path to foolishness and trouble. All right. So, yeah, that's really what I wanted to tell you guys. I wanted to let you know what my full background was because I hadn't had a chance to do that yet. And wanted to tell you some different, kind of give a hint to some projects that I got coming up that I'm very excited about. And yeah, we're going to do this thing together. We're going to create all the big goals and big dreams that we have, and we're going to actually achieve them little by little because I believe we can. All righty. Okie dokie. We still riding with the Groundhog's Day experiment, y'all. Just got a few more days. I can't wait to tell you guys how it has turned out for me. So be on the lookout for that. All right. Okay, that's all I got for you guys. I will see you next time, and you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Okay? Bye now.